Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday afternoon session. This week, I'm going to talk about nutrition and cancer prevention. So thank you. I'm delighted to see you on this Zoom training, and you will be able to pick up a few things that are critical if you want to prevent cancer. So I'll talk a little bit about the things that we should avoid, the foods that we should avoid, and other things, the lifestyle that we should all avoid. And then I'll dig deep into the nutrition and the foods that we should all be taking in order to prevent cancer. So my name is Dr. Charles Warner, and I'm your presenter this afternoon. The cancer nutrition or prevention is a very critical aspect of our journey if we want to lead a very healthy life. So let me just share these screens and slides with you, and we shall go through this with you slowly by slowly so that you can get an idea of how you can prevent cancer. So cancer prevention, although 1 in 5 men and 1 in 6 women worldwide can develop some type of cancer during their lifetime, those diagnosed are living longer than ever, thanks to screening, early detection, vaccination, and diet. Because each person is exposed to unique environment and lifestyle factors, cancer risk can vary from one person to another, from one region to another. Although some factors cannot be controlled, such as inherited genetic mutations, there is a range of modifiable environmental and lifestyle factors that can help reduce the risk of developing cancer. According to the World Health Organization, a 30 to 40% cancer burden can be attributed to lifestyle risk factors such as tobacco smoking, alcohol consumption, a diet low in fruit and vegetables, overweight and obesity, and physical inactivity. Dealing with these root causes may help reduce the risks of certain types of cancer. So over here on the left, you see some of the things you should be doing: eating well, moving more, maintaining a healthy weight, enjoying plant-based diet, and so on, cutting down on alcohol and excess salt, and so on. So the next slide shows us that we should also maintain a healthy weight. There are convincing evidence that carrying extra fat mass marked by a higher body mass index, BMI, greater waist circumference, and greater waist to hip ratio will significantly increase the risk of developing several cancers. BMI, body mass index, measures one's weight in relation to height. A BMI between 8.5 to 25 is classified as normal. If your BMI is between 25.1 and 29.9, you are classified as overweight. And if it is 30 and higher, you may be classified as obese. So each increase of 5 points in BMI was associated with a 50% higher risk of endometrial cancer, and was also associated with 48% higher risk of esophageal adenocarcinoma, 30% higher risk of kidney cancer, and 30% higher risk of liver cancer, and 12% higher risk of postmenopausal breast cancer, and 10% higher risk of pancreatic cancer, and 5% higher risk of colorectal cancer. As you can see from this statistical information, each time you increase in weight, if you put on more weight, your risks of developing certain cancers also go up. So that's what we are going to talk today, how you can maintain a healthy weight. Each increase, each 4-inch increase in waist circumference. So that means you're putting on more weight. So if you increase 4 inches on your waist, this can be shown to increase the risk of esophageal adenocarcinoma by 34% and pancreatic cancer by 11%, postmenopausal breast cancer by 11%, kidney cancer by 11%, endometrial cancer by 5%, and colorectal cancer by 2%. So these are alarming numbers. If you want to decrease these or the risks of developing these kinds of cancers, then you have to maintain a healthy weight. You have to reduce a bit of your weight. Okay. So a waist to hip ratio measures one's waist size divided by hip size. So it's the waist size and the hip size that gives you a waist to hip ratio. People who carry more weight in the belly are at a higher risk for cancer and other chronic diseases than those who carry more weight in the hips. You may be able to see all shapes around the people in your environment. Some have more weight being carried in their bellies, and so these have a higher risk of developing cancer. The World Health Organization recommends a healthy waist-hip ratio to be 0.9 or less in men and 0.85 or less in women. Each 0.1 unit increase in waist-hip ratio significantly increases the risk of esophageal adenocarcinoma by 38%. It increases kidney cancer by 26% and increases in the endometrial cancer by 21%, pancreatic cancer by 19%, postmenopausal breast cancer by 10%, and colorectal cancer by 2%. So as you can see, significant increasing weight in adult life is a convincing cause of postmenopausal breast cancer and endometrial cancer, especially in women. So each 11-pound increase in weight gained during adulthood also was significantly associated with a 16% higher risk of endometrial cancer and 6% of higher risk of postmenopausal breast cancer. Well, I've been talking about so many percentages, but all it is saying is that in order to cut down the risks of developing different kinds of cancers, you have to maintain a healthy weight. The BMI, the body mass index, has to go down. And also your waist circumference also has to go down in conjunction with your hip size. So that's what we are talking about here. Make sure you maintain a healthy weight. So weight control. Weight control is critical for reducing risks of cancers. I've been talking about weight control, healthy weight, and so on. But in Green World, we have some products. You have the ProSlim tea, we have the Lipid Care tea, Chitosan, hemp seed oil, or Omega 369. These products make a combination of products to help control your body weight. For example, take chitosan capsule, like 2 capsules 30 minutes before lunch and dinner, if you want to maintain a healthy weight. Absorbing water, chitosan expands in the stomach and gives you a sense of fullness. In the intestine, it binds with the fat, then takes it out of the body. So that way, chitosan helps you to lose unnecessary weight, especially the fats. Omega-3 fatty acids help increase thermogenesis, the metabolic process during which your body burns calories to produce heat, preventing muscle breakdown as a result of exercise and aging, and has an anti-lipogenic effect, therefore a reduction in fat storage. So one of the components in omega-3 fatty acid is the EPA, and in these 2 products, the hemp-seed oil and the omega-369, we have approved to reverse the obesity-induced hepatic steatosis in high-fat fed mice. So taking 2 capsules of either hemp-seed oil or 2 capsules of omega-369 can help you maintain a healthy weight. Okay. On the other hand, we have also pro-slim tea and lipid care tea. These can replace other beverages. I know some people keep taking all these sodas, pops, and so on, which are not really healthy. They instead have a lot of calories and they help you to put on weight. So in Green World, we recommend that you take pro-slim tea and lipid care tea if you want to maintain or have some control over your weight. On one hand, these herbal teas, the pro-slim tea and lipid care tea, can improve the fat metabolism. On the other hand, they can improve your body constitution. In other words, consuming these herbal teas in the long run can increase our body's basal metabolic rate. Thus, we burn more calories and do not deposit fat easily. So these are some of the 4 products in Green World that I recommend to you to use if you want to maintain a healthy weight and have weight control over your body. Then we come to one other aspect of lifestyle that most of us don't do much of, that is being physically active. According to School of Public Health of Harvard, there is evidence from a 2009 meta-analysis of 52 epidemiologic studies which showing that the most physically active individuals had a 24 lower risk of colon cancer than those who were the least physically active. A 2013 meta-analysis of 31 prospective studies showed that average breast cancer risk reduction associated with physical activity was 12%. So you see, as you become more and more physically active, you tend now to reduce, you lower the risks of developing certain cancers. And the protective effect was even stronger for postmenopausal women. After menopause, women who increase their physical activity may also have a lower risk of breast cancer than women who do not. So that means that if you participate in physical activities more often, and if you are a woman who is arrived at menopause or beyond postmenopausal, then your risks of developing things like breast cancer will be diminished. So this is what we all are aiming at in helping women who have problems after menopause. Also, sedentary behaviors, such as spending an extended amount of time sitting down, reclining, or lying down, which most of us do, especially in winter. A lot of us are sedentary. We don't do anything. We just sit down, lie down, sleep, get up, sit down, and so on. And we don't do much physical activities. This may also increase cancer risk if you are not active, sedentary lifestyle. The review of research on sedentary behavior and risk of endometrial, colon, and lung cancers found that the highest versus lowest levels of sedentary time increased risks of these cancers by a statistically significant range of 20 to 30%. So you see, it is very important that you participate in physical activities if you want to reduce your risks of developing certain cancers. The next lifestyle that we'll talk about is alcohol. Try to limit alcohol consumption. Diet plays an important role in cancer prevention. Before we talk about what we are supposed to eat, let us see what we shall avoid, or at least cut down in consumption. So one of those things is the alcohol. Limit your alcohol consumption. There is a strong evidence that consumption of alcoholic drinks is actually a cause of cancers of the mouth, pharynx and larynx, esophagus, liver, colorectal, and breast, particularly for women who are postmenopausal. So you can see consuming a lot of alcohol will result in these cancers, mostly that follow the digestive system, the mouth, the pharynx, that's the nasal cavity, and the voice box, and the tube that the food passes when it's going to the stomach, and so on. Every 10 grams of alcohol consumed per day will elevate the risks of these cancers by 4 to 25%. The evidence shows that alcoholic drinks of all types have a similar impact on cancer risk. So there is no discrimination about which type of alcohol. So the recommendation, therefore, covers all types of alcoholic drinks, whether beer, wine, spirits, or any other alcoholic drink, as well as other. So the other thing that now I emphasize on this slide is that try to limit, if you can, avoid taking alcoholic drinks. The more you take, the more harder it is for most people to stop. So it is addictive. Alcohol is addictive, especially for people who have all sorts of stressful lives. Sometimes they start to take alcohol as a way to relax and rewind. Okay, but the advice is limit your alcohol consumption. The other thing that I'll talk about today with you is limit highly processed foods. Limit highly processed foods. Fast foods are readily available, and convenience foods that tend to be energy dense and are often consumed in large portions. Most of the evidence on fast foods is from studies looking at burgers, fried chicken, French fries, and high-calorie drinks, which contain sugars such as soda or unhealthy fats such as shakes. There is strong evidence that diets containing higher amounts of fast foods and other processed foods high in unhealthy fats, starches, or sugars, as well as consuming the so-called Western type diet, characterized by a high amount of added sugars, meat, and fat, are all causes of weight gain. and you become overweight soon. If you consume these highly processed foods occasionally or often, you have overweight problem, and soon you have obesity, which are all risk factors for many cancers. Mind you, this kind of highly processed foods, ultra-processed foods, these are all designed by some of the CEOs of the biggest food companies. They want you to stay unhealthy because they also have invested money in the pharmaceutical companies. So when you are unhealthy, you get the medicine from the pharmaceutical companies to take care of the symptoms, not the root cause. And so you pay more money there. These kind of foods are addictive. They have been designed to perfection to overpass the stop signal of your brain. So when you start to eat these kinds of foods and drink these kinds of drinks, your brain starts to fail to know when to stop, because you are not taking a snack. You're actually feeding an addiction. These ultra-processed foods are dangerous. They are the cause of a lot of issues in health that we have around, including cancers. They were designed by scientists who were promoted by these big food companies to make you stay unhealthy for a long time, because for them, profits are more important than your health. This is the big food companies who are working in conjunction with the big pharma. So limit the highly processed foods in order to avoid some of these risk factors for cancers. The next one is limit red and processed meat. Red meat includes all types of muscle meat from a mammal, including beef, veal, pork, lamb, mutton, horse, and goat. Processed meat has been transformed through either salting, curing, fermentation, smoking, or other processes to enhance flavor and improve preservation. So all these chemical processes are there to enhance the flavor of the meat and also preservation. The shelf life is longer. Although these products are often made from red meat, i.e. ham, bacon, salami, and some sausages, such as frankfurters and chorizo, other meats can also be processed, i.e. turkey bacon, chicken sausage, and daily sliced chicken. While both red and processed meat were suggested to increase the risk of a number of other cancers, the evidence was most convincing for colorectal cancer. The risk of colorectal cancer increased by 16% with every 50 grams per day of processed meat intake, and by 12% with every 100 grams per day of red meat intake. Because meat can be valuable recommendation, the recommendation is to limit rather than completely avoid the minimally processed red meat. However, poultry and seafood are generally healthier sources of protein, as well as many of these other nutrients. Very little, if any, processed meat should be consumed. So that's the advice. Try to take a little bit of the meat because you get some nutrients such as proteins, zinc, vitamin B12, and so on. But don't indulge too much in red meat and processed meats. The next one, limit the amount of sugar. Well, as you can see, all these coffee shops and some bakeries, they are famous or notorious for giving us all these products that are loaded with sugars, lots of sugars, and this is dangerous. So limit added sugar. There is convincing evidence that sugar sweetened drinks is a cause of weight gain. So taking Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola every day, taking large quantities of that will result in you becoming overweight and eventually obese, especially in both children and adults, especially when consumed frequently or in large portions, which seems to be the case in North America. As noted above, obesity increases the risk of many, many cancers. So try to avoid these kinds of drinks. They are loaded with sugars, which is not so good for your body. They just make you put on weight. Now we move to another topic, how you should avoid tobacco and excess sun exposure. These are some of the things that can increase the risk of developing certain cancers. So avoid tobacco and excess sun exposure, smoking tobacco products, including cigarettes and cigars. A lot of cases now we allow marijuana, is illegal. So that's even making a lot of people unaware that what they are doing is exposing them to dangerous chemicals that will eventually make them susceptible to many cancers of the lungs and so on. But tobacco use can cause cancer almost anywhere in your body, not only in the lungs. This includes in the bladder. So smoking tobacco can cause a lot of havoc to your body. Cancer in the bladder, cancer in the blood. This is acute myeloid leukemia in the cervix, in the colon and rectum, in the esophagus, the kidney and renal pelvis. Can cause cancer of the liver, cancer of the lungs, bronchi and trachea, and cancer of the mouth and throat because the smoke passes through the mouth and the throat, and pancreas, the stomach, voice box, larynx. All these kinds of cancers can occur anywhere in your body due to tobacco. I talked about this last week when I was talking about simple way to take care of your cardiovascular system. Smoking increases the number of monoxide and chemicals that go and damage your arteries as well, and create an environment where fats and plaque can come and reside and eventually decrease the size of your arteries and blood vessels, which can lead to heart attack, or stroke, and other heart diseases. Okay, so the other thing that I would like to inform you today to avoid some cancers is the sun, and some sun lamps and tanning booths. All these give off ultraviolet radiation. Exposure to ultraviolet radiation causes early aging of the skin and damage that can lead to skin cancer. For those of you who attended our Saturday morning presentation training last Saturday, this Saturday, by Professor Zina Wu, she talked about ultraviolet. I think it was 2 weeks ago. She talked 2 weeks ago, yeah, on Saturday. She talked about the damage that ultraviolet radiation causes to the skin, causing early aging and wrinkles of the skin and some other skin cancers. So people of all ages and skin tones should limit the amount they expend in the sun, especially between mid-morning and late afternoon. You should avoid other sources of ultraviolet radiation, such as going to tanning beds. You want to have dark skin, especially after a long and brutal winter like the one we have had here, most in Canada. So most people they see, they want to have a tan, so they go to some tanning beds. So keep in mind that this ultraviolet radiation is also reflected by sun if you go to the beach, and by water, and by snow, and even ice. So everywhere you go, there's ultraviolet radiation being reflected back to your body, to your eyes. And also for those people who commute every day against the sun, they always have this scenario whereby the ultraviolet light or rays can go through the windshield of their cars and windows. So even though skin cancer is more common among people with light skins or light skin tone, people of all skin tones can develop skin cancers, including those with dark skin like mine. So don't fool yourself and think that you have God-given ability to avoid skin cancer because of the color of your skin. Try to avoid ultraviolet radiation. The next one now is how to understand what we are not supposed to eat. That's what I have done. Now I'm going to talk about what we should eat. So eat a diet rich in whole grains, beans, fruits, and vegetables. Eat a balanced diet. Eat a diet rich in whole grains, beans, fruits, and vegetables. Try to eat also about 500 to 800 grams of fresh fruits and vegetables, including 3.3 to 5 varieties of vegetables and 2 to 4 varieties of fruits, okay? And eat 300 to 500 grams of whole grains and beans. So this is important. Make sure that you have a balanced diet, a diet rich in whole grains, beans, fruits, and vegetables, especially when you want to fight cancer. All these vegetables and fruits have antioxidants, and they have all sorts of phytochemicals that will help you fight off any cancerous cells that try to masquerade in your body. If you have ever been told to eat green leafy greens to maintain a healthy eating pattern, you might think it's about swapping out iceberg lettuce in your salad. That's a great start, but there is so much more to explore in the delicious world of cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables are nutrient-packed veggies which can be transformed into our daily delights. Cruciferous veggies include things like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, and many more. Cruciferous vegetables contain a broad range of valuable metabolites which are effective in chemo prevention of cancer. So due to the presence of vitamin C and E, carotenoids, and so on, we have lots of antioxidant enzymes in those kinds of vegetables. So another idea on how to eat a balanced diet: eat foods rich in dietary fiber. Eat foods that are rich in dietary fiber. Epidemiological research provides strong evidence for dietary fiber and fiber-rich foods that can prevent cancer. Furthermore, some research suggests that fiber may have capacity to reduce the risk-enhancing effects of dietary fat, So if you want to reduce the risks of developing certain cancers, try to add to your diet some dietary fiber, because these may actually reduce the risk-enhancing effects of fats. So for people who have diets that are more geared towards fat, then inclusion of dietary fiber may balance out and reduce the risk of the dangers due to dietary fat. Another idea how to eat a balanced diet: eat foods rich in micronutrients. Eat foods that are rich in micronutrients. So vegetables and fruits are high in important micronutrients. Beta carotene, vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin C, and selenium. These are all known for their antioxidant properties. Vitamin D, calcium, and folic acid also play important roles in safeguarding health and avoiding cancer. Through a multitude of processes such as antioxidation, anti-proliferation, and DNA repair, these come in play to help you in this kind of maintenance. These essential nutrients are vital for supporting the body's defense mechanisms against cancer and other health threats. So make sure that you eat a lot of foods that are rich in micronutrients. Okay. Even selenium is important for warding off things like breast cancer and so on. So make sure that you indulge in foods of this type. Then we come to foods that are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. I talked about hemp-seed oil, talked about omega-3, 6, 9, but also you should eat foods that are rich in omega-3 fatty acid. Okay. So inflammatory processes are involved in initiation, in promotion, and progression stages of cancer. There's a lot of inflammation that takes place when cancer is starting to attack your body. So herein lies a rationale for potential involvement of omega-3 fatty acids in reduction of cancer risk. Here we give you a few studies and their results based on experimental animals and human clinical and cell cultures. These data actually suggest that omega-3 fatty acids supplementation could result in a significant reduction in human skin cancer incidence. It is probable that omega-3 fatty acid supplementation could have beneficial effects on a range of other inflammatory diseases. So this is so important. You should eat foods which are rich in omega-3 fatty acids to avoid inflammation and reduce the risks of developing certain cancers. Then the next one is eat a balanced diet, which includes foods that are high in antioxidants. Foods that are high in antioxidants. To lower your susceptibility to various types of cancer and other serious illnesses, it is advisable to focus on foods that are high in antioxidants, such as vegetables and fruits, especially berries, nuts, legumes, grain-based products, and good fats. Foods that are rich in antioxidants can bolster your immunity and protect you against cancer. Fruits rich in diets have shown the potential in reducing the occurrence of stomach and lung cancer. Carotenoids-rich foods such as carrots, squash, and spirulina may reduce the incidence of lung cancer, oral cancer, pharynx, and laryngeal cancer. Non-starchy veggies include spinach, broccoli, and legumes. These can also help prevent stomach and esophageal cancer. So foods high in vitamin C, such as berries, peas, oranges, bell pepper, and deep green leafy vegetables may also help reduce the incidence of esophageal cancer. Additionally, including lycopene-rich foods like tomatoes, guava, and watermelon. If you include this in your diet, this could potentially lower the risk of prostate cancer. So the anti-cancer abilities of berries have been demonstrated in numerous preclinical studies. Berries including blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, and so on. The majority of berry-related cancer preclinical studies demonstrate the effectiveness of berries in inhibiting tumorigenesis in a wide range of cancers, including oral, esophageal, colon, lung, and skin cancer. So evidence also suggests that blueberries and their bioactive constituents show promise in the prevention of several cancers of the gastrointestinal tract. So blueberries also show promise as a chemopreventative agent of mammary tumors, the breast cancers. In an animal experiments of mice, consumption of blueberry powder on a daily basis has demonstrated protective effects against tumor growth and metastasis in mice. So this brings us to the conclusion that blueberries, which we are one of the leading companies spearheading the research in blueberries, can actually protect you from effects against tumor growth and so on. So keep eating your blueberries and using your blueberry products of Green World, and you will be thankful for that. The next one, how you should eat a balanced diet. So eat foods that are high in antioxidants. This is a continuation of the last slide. So this research, I'll just give you a few latest clinical researches on blueberries' anti-cancer properties. Blueberries are famous as small, blue, violent fruits that have packed in them anthocyanins, antioxidants. So researchers from the University of Porto and New University of Lisbon, Portugal, they have studied anthocyanins in blueberry extract on 2 breast cancer cell lines. They have discovered that in both cell lines, blueberry extract significantly reduced cell proliferation. Also, we have Dr. Yujiang Fang, who works in the School of Medicine at the University of Missouri, Columbia, and his colleagues recently reported that their results in pathology and oncology research, anthocyanins, which are packed in blueberries, and resveratrol in blueberries, would actually slow the progression of cancer by blocking the development of blood vessels, feeding the malignant cells. There is also a team of researchers from Taipei Medical University and Academia Scenic in Taiwan. They found that the antioxidant pterostilbene found in grapes and blueberries can inhibit cancer cell invasion, a phenomenon linked to radiation exposure. So these are some of the research work that has been going on in order to support eating foods that are high in antioxidants in order to prevent the development of cancer. So before I conclude, I would like to talk about some of the Green World products that are so good if you want to prevent cancer. Okay, with all these evidences, we can say that Greenwald spirulina capsule, blueberry super nutrition or blueberry juice, hempseed oil capsule or omega-369 are the ideal anti-cancer products. If you want to prevent cancer occurring to your body, please make sure that you take these products regularly. I'm not joking. This is serious because they will have all the antioxidants, all those phytochemicals that play a big role in helping your immune system to prevent cancer cells from taking over parts of your body. Prevention is always more important than treatment. So cancer is predicted to be the leading cause of death in every country of the world by the end of this century. It's predicted. A lot of cases of cancer we don't even hear about. So lots of people die from the main cause is cancerous tumors, but we don't hear about it because they have other diseases that come in play. So most of the time we don't hear about the real cause of the death of a person. So optimum nutrition could be the key to reducing the risks of cancer. So thank you very much, everyone. And I would like you to be vigilant, make sure that you have a balanced diet, you control your weight, you also take Greenwald products religiously, and you will see that you lead a very healthy life. And don't forget to be active as well. Don't just be sedentary and just sit down, lie down and watch TV or surf the net, use your mobile phone, that's it. Make sure you move also. This is a combination of many things, as you have heard in this training today. So thank you very much, everyone, for turning up. And I hope you took away a few things that can help you and help your other clients when you give them some of this information to use. And I wish you all the best as you go on this exciting journey of preventing cancer.